Dear friends, believers and non-believers alike, in a world full of questions about purpose, morality, and the human condition, the stories from the Bible offer profound insights into our shared history and the evolution of ethical thinking. Whether you see these as divine truths, ancient wisdom, or cultural myths, they have undeniably shaped civilizations, laws, and philosophies for millennia. Let me share this narrative with you, not to preach, but to explain how, according to the biblical account, God interacted with humanity from creation to the pivotal moment of establishing foundational rules. This story highlights themes of free will, temptation, redemption, and the need for structure in a chaotic world. Think of it as a grand timeline. God begins with boundless generosity, granting humanity paradise and freedom. But with that freedom comes responsibility. And when responsibility falters, consequences follow. Yet, grace persists. As populations grow and societies form, disorder slowly creeps in. Humanity struggles, societies fracture, and the need for guidance becomes clear. This leads to moments of correction, resets, and renewed direction. Eventually, the story reaches a defining moment, a moment where divine laws are given to align humanity with justice and order. Much like how modern societies rely on constitutions or companies depend on policies to function smoothly and fairly. What follows is this story in a structured form, beginning with the baseline foundation from creation to the prelude of the commandments. Then we journey deeper into the defining event, the giving of the 10 Commandments at Mount Sinai. Presented through 12 detailed chapters drawing from the biblical text, primarily the book of Exodus, chapters 19 and 20. With context from earlier scriptures and reflections on their historical and philosophical impact. Imagine this not simply as a story, but as the script for an enlightening journey, a narrative designed to inspire reflection, spark discussion, and invite deeper thought about the origins of moral order in human civilization. Let us begin. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, culminating in humanity, Adam and Eve, as the crown of creation. He placed them in the Garden of Eden, a paradise described as a lush and harmonious realm, almost like a heavenly extension upon the earth. There, God was incredibly generous. There was no toil, food was abundant, and humanity enjoyed direct communion with the divine. Yet alongside this blessing, God gave humanity something extraordinary: free will. The ability to choose, a test of love, trust, and responsibility. And so God gave one simple instruction: do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But temptation soon appeared. The devil, appearing as a serpent, approached Eve with promises of wisdom, knowledge that would make humans like God. Eve took the fruit, and she shared it with Adam. They ate. And in that single act of disobedience, the first sin, humanity's eyes were opened, shame appeared, fear followed, and moral complexity entered the human story. Paradise was lost. Adam and Eve were expelled from Eden, sent into a world of labor, struggle, and mortality. Yet even then, God did not abandon them. He clothed them. He spoke to them about the consequences of their actions, and he promised that redemption would one day come through their descendants. As generations passed, humanity multiplied. From Adam came Cain, Abel, and Seth. But as populations grew, so did corruption. Violence spread across the earth, idolatry emerged, and moral decay darkened the human heart. According to the ancient narrative, God grieved over what his creation had become, and so a great reset was set in motion. a righteous man named Noah was chosen. He was instructed to build an ark to preserve life, his family, and the creatures of the earth, from a great flood that would cleanse the world. When the waters finally receded, humanity began again. Noah's descendants spread across the earth, forming nations, languages, and cultures. Among these generations, one lineage stood out. The line of Shem eventually led to Abraham. Through Abraham, God established a covenant, a promise that his descendants would become a great people and inherit a land of their own. This family line continued through Isaac and Jacob, who was later named Israel. Their descendants became known as the Israelites. They were not chosen out of favoritism, but to serve as a guiding light to the nations, a people through whom the knowledge of God would endure. Centuries later, their story took a dramatic turn. The Israelites found themselves enslaved in Egypt, but once again, God intervened in human history. A man named Moses was raised up to lead them. Through a series of extraordinary events, plagues, miracles, and the parting of the sea, the Israelites were delivered from bondage. Freedom had finally come. Yet freedom brought its own challenges. In the wilderness, the people complained about food, water, and the hardships of the journey. Their struggles revealed something deeply human, the tendency toward doubt, ingratitude, and rebellion. Without clear guidance, chaos easily returns. Just as modern societies rely on constitutions to define justice, or organizations depend on policies to maintain fairness, humanity needed a moral framework. After escaping Egypt, the Israelites journeyed through the wilderness until they arrived at the foot of Mount Sinai, a rugged and imposing peak in the Sinai Peninsula, believed by traditional timelines to be around the year 1446 BC. There, the people camped beneath the mountain, unaware that they were about to witness one of the most transformative moments in human history. God spoke to Moses with a solemn instruction. "Tell the people to consecrate themselves, for on the third day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all." This command, recorded in the book of Exodus, signaled that something extraordinary was about to unfold. The people were instructed to prepare themselves, to wash their garments, to purify their hearts, and to approach the moment with reverence. This was not simply a gathering of wandering tribes. It was a divine appointment. Until this moment, many may have seen God as a distant creator, the architect of the universe far removed from daily human life. But what was about to happen would transform that perception forever. The God who created the heavens would reveal himself as a living presence actively guiding his people. A relational God, a God who expected preparation, reverence, and holiness. For on the third day, the mountain itself would become the stage for a divine encounter that would echo through the centuries. As dawn broke over the wilderness, an extraordinary scene began to unfold. Thunder roared across the sky, lightning flashed over the mountain, and thick smoke rose upward, covering Mount Sinai like a blazing furnace. Then a sound echoed through the valley, a trumpet blast. At first, it was distant, but with every passing moment the sound grew louder and louder until the very ground beneath the people trembled. The Israelites stood in awe, hearts racing, hands trembling, eyes fixed upon the mountain. This was no ordinary storm. According to the ancient account in Exodus, the mountain itself had become the meeting place between heaven and earth. The people felt a deep and overwhelming fear. Yet this fear was not merely terror, it was something deeper, a reverent respect, a recognition of the immense power and holiness before them. In many ancient cultures, gods were often portrayed as distant, unpredictable, or indifferent to human life. But this moment revealed something profoundly different. The God known as Yahweh was neither absent nor whimsical. He was powerful, intentional, and present among his people. Even today, when humanity witnesses the force of nature, towering storms, rolling thunder, or mountains trembling, we feel a similar sense of wonder and humility. At Mount Sinai, that same awe filled the air. For the people knew they were standing at the threshold of a moment that would shape the moral foundation of civilizations for generations to come. As the people gathered at the foot of Mount Sinai, God instructed Moses to establish clear limits around the mountain. The command was firm and unmistakable. Set boundaries for the people around the mountain and tell them, be careful that you do not approach the mountain or touch the foot of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall surely be put to death. This command, recorded in the book of Exodus, was not merely about physical distance. It symbolized something deeper, the vast gap between a holy God and a flawed humanity. The people were being taught an enduring lesson that approaching the divine requires reverence, purity, and responsibility. In a world often marked by tribal conflict, moral confusion, and unchecked power, this moment introduced a powerful concept: accountability before the sacred. The boundary around Mount Sinai became a symbol of holiness. It reminded the people that the divine presence was not something to be approached carelessly. Over time, this idea would echo throughout cultures and religions around the world. Sacred spaces would be set apart: temples, sanctuaries, and holy ground. Places where humanity pauses, reflects, and approaches the divine with humility. As thunder rolled across the wilderness and the mountain trembled beneath the heavens, Moses began the climb alone. Step by step, he ascended the rugged slopes of Mount Sinai, leaving the people waiting below. Above him, a dense cloud covered the summit, the visible sign of the presence of God. With courage and reverence, Moses entered that cloud, stepping into the mystery of the divine. And there, from within the cloud, God spoke these words: "I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage." These opening words were more than an introduction. They were a reminder. Before giving commandments, God first reminded the people of their liberation. The laws that would follow were not meant as burdens. They were responses to grace, guidelines for a people who had already been rescued and set free. Much like modern societies draw their laws from shared struggles and defining moments, or nations craft constitutions after revolutions that shape their identity, the commandments of Sinai were rooted in a story of deliverance, a reminder that freedom carries responsibility, and that justice must grow from gratitude and memory. From within the cloud atop Mount Sinai, the voice of God continued. The first commandment was spoken with clarity and authority: "You shall have no other gods before me." These words may seem simple, yet in the ancient world they carried revolutionary meaning. At that time, most civilizations were deeply polytheistic. The Egyptians worshipped a vast pantheon of gods. The Canaanites honored idols tied to nature, fertility, and war. People often served many gods at once, seeking favor from whichever power seemed strongest in a given moment. But this commandment demanded something entirely different. It called for exclusive loyalty to one God alone, the God known as Yahweh. This idea reshaped religious and moral thinking. Instead of fragmented beliefs divided among many competing gods, truth and morality were now rooted in a single, ultimate source. From this foundation, a new ethical vision emerged, one where justice, truth, and human responsibility flowed from the authority of one sovereign creator. A principle that would influence civilizations, laws, and philosophies for thousands of years to come. From atop Mount Sinai, God spoke again, delivering the second commandment: "You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them." Exodus 24:6. This commandment banned idolatry, directly critiquing a human tendency to worship created things rather than the Creator. In a world surrounded by statues, idols, and tangible representations of gods, this instruction shifted perception from material deities to an invisible, transcendent God. It called humanity to think abstractly, to imagine a power beyond form or shape, beyond what the eye can see or the hands can touch. By demanding worship of the unseen, this commandment fostered intellectual and spiritual depth, laying the foundation for philosophical inquiry, such as Plato's exploration of ideal forms, and influencing the evolution of art towards symbolic and abstract expression. The second commandment was not merely a prohibition, it invited reflection, humility, and a recognition that the sacred transcends the material world. From the cloud atop Mount Sinai, God continued to instruct his people, revealing the third commandment: "You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God." Exodus 27. This commandment protected the holiness of God from casual use in oaths, promises, or curses. It taught the people that words are not neutral. Speech carries weight. Language can honor or degrade, build trust or destroy it, and shape moral character. In societies where false vows and empty promises were common, this commandment introduced a revolutionary principle: accountability in language. It demanded integrity, calling the Israelites to use words responsibly, to respect the power behind the name of God, and to speak truthfully in all dealings. Centuries later, this principle echoes in modern law: perjury statutes, oaths in courts, and ethical standards in communication. The third commandment reminds us that speech is sacred, that integrity begins with the words we choose, and that honoring the divine requires reverence in how we communicate. From the sacred heights of Mount Sinai, God continued his instructions, giving the fourth commandment: "Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy." Exodus 28:11. This commandment was modeled after God's own rest, following creation. It mandated a weekly day of rest, not just for humans, but for animals and even servants. In a world where labor could be exploitative, where people were driven to toil without pause, this commandment humanized work. It introduced the revolutionary idea that life requires balance, that rest is not optional, but a sacred rhythm woven into the fabric of human existence. The principle extended beyond mere ritual. It fostered care for others, protecting the vulnerable, including workers and animals, from endless labor. In modern terms, this commandment planted the seeds for work-life balance, social justice reforms, and labor protections that recognize the dignity of rest. reminds us that productivity alone does not define human value, and that honoring time for reflection, restoration, and connection is essential to ethical and flourishing societies. From the cloud atop Mount Sinai, God continued his instructions, giving the fifth commandment: honor your father and your mother. Exodus 20:12. This commandment bridged divine and human relationships, linking respect for God with respect within the family. It emphasized that the family is the foundation of society, where values, guidance, and moral understanding are first taught and received. In patriarchal cultures of the ancient Near East, this law promoted respect across generations, ensuring that elders, parents, and caregivers were honored and protected. Its influence extends far beyond the biblical context. Filial piety became a central value in Eastern philosophies, shaping Confucian thought and social harmony. In Western societies, it influenced ethical approaches to family, highlighting responsibility, care, and respect for those who nurture and guide us. By honoring one's parents, the Israelites were reminded that relationships grounded in respect and gratitude mirror the moral order established by God. This commandment reveals that human society thrives when the bonds of family are strengthened, and that ethical conduct begins at home, rooted in love, respect, and accountability. From the heights of Mount Sinai, God spoke further, laying down commandments that would protect the most fundamental aspects of human life. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. Exodus 20:13-15. These directives safeguarded life, marriage, and possessions, the essential pillars of stable human society. In a world often governed by tribal vengeance, where retribution could spiral endlessly, these commandments introduced the concept of justice. They demanded restraint, accountability, and moral responsibility, showing that wrongdoing has consequences and that society must protect its members from harm and exploitation. By establishing universal boundaries for human behavior, these commandments transcended culture and time. From the cloud atop Mount Sinai, God spoke again, revealing the final commandments to guide both action and intention. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. Exodus 20:16-17. These commandments addressed the human heart itself, reminding the Israelites that morality is not only about deeds, but also about inner attitudes and intentions. Lies and false testimony erode trust, disrupting relationships and communities. Covetousness, the desire for what belongs to another, breeds jealousy, conflict, and social division. By regulating thoughts and inner desires, these commandments elevated ethical standards from mere observable behavior to the realm of conscience. As the mountain quaked and smoke filled the air, the people were overwhelmed by the divine presence. Fearful and awestruck, they cried out, begging Moses to mediate between them and God. God, in his wisdom, inscribed the commandments on stone tablets, a tangible covenant for humanity. When Moses descended, his face shone with radiant light, reflecting the encounter with the holy presence on the mountain. Exodus 34:29. This moment was transformative. It sealed a covenant, reshaping human perception from lawlessness to ordered freedom. The impact of Sinai echoed across history. It shaped the Torah of Judaism, influenced the ethics of Christianity, and even informed secular legal systems. Today it reminds us that true progress requires moral anchors. In a world of relativism, the Sinai covenant affirms absolute goods, justice, compassion, and the responsibility to one another. Friends, this narrative is not merely ancient history, it serves as a mirror for our world today, showing humanity's potential for greatness and folly. It offers a path toward better living through guiding principles, reminding us that rules, when rooted in wisdom, protect freedom and community. If this story resonates, explore the Bible yourself. If it does not, consider its profound cultural footprint and the way it has shaped laws, ethics, and civilizations. And if you believe this video can inspire someone, do share, like, and subscribe. Shalom.